Welcome to the Popish Plot. I'm Nate.
I'm Jessica.
And I'm Mike.
And today we are here with your first installment of September's Saints. Or I believe in this case, September's Saint.
Well, there'll be two.
Oh, there'll be two.
By the time we're done, there will be multiple.
There will be multiple. But at the moment, there is just the one.
Yes, I decided that September is back to school time. Mm-hmm. So instead of doing a little thing, we do a deep dive essay, level work.
To help you, reach your academic potential.
Yep.
And I would go with
Or at least
Saints,
encourage you to do so.
Saints you've probably heard of before, but you probably don't know that much about.
Have you heard of this saint? Oh, sure. What can you tell about them?
Doctor of the Church.
Life of holiness and virtue?
Yeah. What can you say about him? He lived a life of holiness, of holy virtue, and then died.
Yes.
It's like,
Or
I don't think that one was a martyr, but
or he lived a life of or he lived a life that wasn't entirely virtuous, but then converted, and as a result of that act, was then brutally murdered.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to help you get to know someone you should know better.
Yes.
So who is our saint for the first half of September?
Do you want to say his name? Because my Greek is not great.
This one is not hard, but if you do not feel comfortable with it, I will say it is St. John Chrysostom.
And it should be noted, Chrysostom is not a name, it's an epithet.
And some people say it differently. There is St. John Chrysostom.
There's
and
St. John Chrysostom.
I've heard also St. John Chrysostom.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Basically, he was called St. John of the Golden Mouth, which is what that is in Greek.
Because, as we'll discuss further, he was a phenomenally eloquent preacher.
Mm-hmm. He was born around the year 347 in Antioch of Roman Syria, the Roman Empire, which is currently located in Turkey.
Mm-hmm. This is the famous Antioch from the Acts of the Apostles.
Mm-hmm. And not one of the other 5 Antiochs running around.
Yeah, not the Antioch further in Turkey. Yeah.
He died September 14th in 407 in Comana, the Diocese of Pontus in the Eastern Roman Empire.
Pontus is the name for the southern shore of the Black Sea.
Yeah, he was still roughly in what now is Turkey, but...
Yeah. Well, again, that's where the majority of Paul's missionary activity took place. That was a major population center of the empire. And remained so until the year 1453.
Yes, and he has a lot of feast days because A, he died on September 14th, but has an overriding feast day in the West. And B, he lived pre-Great Schism, pre any of the other schisms. So all the churches have feast days for him, plus various, Protestant groups.
Everybody celebrates John Chrysostom.
So, let's see. For Western Rite Catholics, Church of England, Lutheran, and various other Western church groups in churches.
All their best stuff is just copying us.
Yes. Mm-hmm. His feast days are September 13th and January 27th.
What's the 27th? The translation?
I think it was. For Byzantine Rite Catholics and Eastern Orthodox Christians, his feast day is September 14th because they don't have the same overriding feast day.
Whereas in the West, that's the Feast of the Exaltation of the Holy Cross.
November 13th, also January 27th again, and January 30th. And some of those are because he's such an important person that it's like, these group of important people and this group of important people have this day, so that's this day. In the Coptic Church or Oriental Orthodox, his feast days are the 17th of Hathor, the 16th of Thout, and the 12th of Pashons. And I did not check to see about roughly when they correspond in Western calendars, but I imagine at least 2 of those are going to be sometime in the first half of September and the beginning of January.
I don't know when Hathor is.
No.
We're going to find out later, though, but we probably won't tell you.
You can look it up,
We
too.
might remember to find out later, and then almost certainly not remember to tell you. Just being honest.
His attributes...
When you see him in iconography.
When you see him in iconography or medals, he's going to be a bishop holding a book or a scroll with a hand raised in a blessing. He's also seen with a beehive, a dove, a pan, a chalice, a Bible, and a pen, or an inkhorn.
Yeah, I haven't seen any where it's got all of them, but you might see some combination.
One or two of those items. He's considered the patron of a number of things: Constantinople, education, epilepsy, which I'm presuming is against epilepsy,
Probably.
lectures, public speakers, and preachers. Really leaning into that golden mouthed thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you run into so few patron saints for grave illnesses.
Nevertheless, because it's always the patron of the thing, it's like, we should probably mention that's like the patron against it. There's a patron of thieves, but it's a patron essentially for the repentance of thieves.
Mm-hmm. In the West, he's a doctor of the church. Mm-hmm. And in the East, he's a great hierarch and ecumenical teacher, as well as one of the 3 holy hierarchs and 4 great Greek church fathers.
Yeah. It is almost impossible to overemphasize the influence of St. John Chrysostom in the East. Mm-hmm. He's considered one of the 3 big guys, along with Basil the Great and Gregory of Nazianzus, the 3 holy hierarchs. And the 4 great Greek church fathers, there's him, there's Athanasius.
Who he takes after, or Athanasius takes after much, because his story involves a lot of getting run out of towns and such.
No. Athanasius set the pattern, and John's like, hold my beer.
Yep.
No. That wasn't getting run out of town. I'll show you getting run out of town.
I'll show you how to get exiled from your own see.
So list of accomplishments for him. He's a church father. He was an archbishop. He was a preacher. Mm-hmm. We already mentioned his name is not actually his legal name. Mm-hmm. It just means golden mouth. He was a writer.
There's a lot of Saints John, so it's good to have something to distinguish you.
There were, after his life, and as far as I can tell, they might still all be around, but at least, post his life, we had 700 different sermons of him, 246 letters, as well as biblical commentaries, moral discourses, and theological treatises. So, tons of writing.
And so much of this persists because he is such an important figure, especially in Eastern Christianity.
Because there is a divine liturgy, which is what in the East they call what we call a mass.
Part of a divine liturgy. Yeah, part of a mass, / mass.
Yes, I was saying, there is a divine liturgy called the
liturgy of John Chrysostom, yes.
And he made one of the really important prayers that is used in it. So it's not like he wrote down the whole liturgy, but they used a huge part of what he wrote to finalize what became the liturgy. And it's still used today. It's the most popular one in the various groups that you would call Byzantine.
Yep. Yeah.
Both East and West.
And they refer to it simply as the Liturgy of St. John Chrysostom.
His mother, Anthusa, might have been a pagan or a Christian. His dad was a military officer who died shortly after he was born.
Yes, he was clearly a high-rating official, and she was a well-off woman of the time, but we're not exactly sure if she was a well-off pagan or a Christian woman given the time.
Could have been either.
And also, he was sent to school with pagan teachers. However, this was the pagan teacher. This was the best teacher. It would be in Dante, where he's got Virgil and stuff, showing up. It's if you're gonna have a teacher, you need this guy. So.
This was the rhetorician of his age, and he taught John the art of rhetoric.
He was apparently sad when he became a Christian and went off and doing his stuff, simply because that was his protege. He was going to take over for him.
Until the Christians took him away.
There are some stories that say he might have been bitten by a snake when he was 10, and I could not get any more information on that.
Might have been bitten by a snake, might not. Don't know. And I know that in his career as a rhetorician, he also became a lawyer.
Yes.
So he was clearly on the wrong path.
Yep. He was baptized sometime between 368 and 373, so a 5-year window there. Became a reader, the actual minor order.
Lector, the minor order, not just,
Nowadays, it's just any old guy, any old person who's willing to help out at church can go stand up and read from the lectionary. But once upon a time, you didn't get to go up there if you weren't already at least kind of, sort of, if you will, sworn in a bit.
If you didn't have at least minor orders.
Later, he studied theology under Diodorus of Tarsus, who founded the school of...
It's Antioch.
Okay, Antioch.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is not Antioch became one of the two most important schools of theology in Christianity. Its only rival was the famous theological school of Alexandria.
Mm-hmm. He then went on to try to become a hermit and live as an anchorite, as in, actually being stuck in one place and just spending his time prayer and fasting.
Locked in a room.
Mm-hmm.
However, that was horrible for his health. He had multiple health things that came out because of it. And so he decided that he was going to go back to Antioch because,
Well, doing penance is good. Doing mortification is good. Modern Western Christians need to get better at doing more mortification. But
doing penance and doing mortification, contrary to one's own good health, is not a good.
Yeah, he permanently damaged his stomach. He permanently damaged his kidneys. 60 was not a bad lifespan for the time, but he spent the rest of his life ill and not fully physically capable because of these excessive mortifications.
Yes.
So just let John Chrysostom be an example in many different ways.
And because he was a hermit, he wasn't in a community.
Yeah.
Because quite often you'll get saints that they're like, I want to do this, and then their leader,
And the community is
says,
like, no.
No, you can't do that.
Yeah. Well, and this is why so many later monastic communities, you would have to be stable in monastic life before you'd even be permitted to go out and be a hermit. Because otherwise you're just going to go out in the desert and be crazy.
Mm-hmm. Or go out in the desert and die of starvation and dehydration in the first couple weeks.
Yes. Or the woods, or whatever.
Yes. So then when he came back, he became a deacon and then a priest. And I'm not getting into, there was a bunch of things with different groups calling each other heretics of who baptized him, who made him a deacon, who made him a priest. But no matter whether or not the people of any step was a heretic, every major Christian agrees that whatever it is, he was fine. So
no, he was born 22 years after the Council of Nicaea. So in his lifetime, Arianism was still rampant, especially in Eastern Empire.
Yes, and it's much like there's various saints who were 100% sure that an anti-pope was the pope. Mm-hmm. But they're still saints because they were doing the best with the info they had,
As a priest, he was well liked for his homilies that were straightforward, practical, and explained how the Bible related to the people's lives. There's something to be said for that.
Absolutely. One of the big things that came out of the school of Alexandria was Origen's highly allegorical method of understanding Scripture. Mm-hmm. So their sermons tended to be kind of airy. It's like this. Whereas Chrysostom was much more, don't do this, be like this. Mm-hmm. Just follow Jesus.
See the way the people related to Jesus in the Bible? That's how you should relate to Jesus right now.
Yep. In 397, he was appointed the Archbishop of Constantinople, having been nominated without being informed that he was. Now, there was infighting in the city, so basically someone said, hey, this guy from another town, he's not part of any group. So we should make him the Archbishop. And technically, as Archbishop of Constantinople, we would consider him a patriarch, because that's one of the, sees, they have.
Yes, but at the same time, if he'd stayed in Antioch and eventually
that's also a C.
and eventually risen to be the bishop there, he would have been a patriarch. Yeah, so he was an absolute rock star in Antioch.
In fact, it was such a rock star that they made him leave in secret, so that he was out of town by the time the people knew that he was gone.
They thought the people would riot.
Yes, if the people know you're leaving, you won't leave.
No, you're not taking him. He's staying right here. For him, that probably would have been better, because the 10 years he spent as Bishop of Constantinople, as Archbishop of Constantinople,
were difficult.
That's an excellent bit of understatement.
It's one of those things, like when we had the church history class, and, for the first, 4 weeks when we were doing, the early church every week was, so what heresy did Constantinople do now?
Yep.
What crazy thing did the people of Constantinople do now?
So to go into some of the details without getting too sordid, as Archbishop, he worked on reforms of the clergy. He fought against extravagance and paganism, which resulted in the Synod of the Oak.
Which you may notice you don't remember from your church
If
history.
you don't remember the Synod of the Oak, there's probably a good reason for that. Banished him until the people revolted and threatened to burn the palace over his removal.
The Imperial Palace.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bring him back, or we will
Bring
burn
him
down
back.
the Emperor's house.
No, it's I mean, that may have been where they were going, but let's be honest. It was, you bring him back, or we burn this place to the ground.
We burned this mother.
Yeah, but that time of not being banished did not last incredibly long.
Nope. Because one of the big things he focused on was he didn't just encourage the clergy not to be extravagant. He didn't host the nobility and the imperial court the way that an archbishop was expected to, because he practiced such personal austerity, and he preached sermons against feminine extravagance, which were interpreted as being directed at the empress.
I mean, the info I got for the second time he got banished was he was sent to the Caucasus for comparing the emperor's actions to the person who danced for the head of John the Baptist.
Which caused riots and the cathedral being burnt down. It did lead to the creation of the Hagia Sophia, so I mean...
The cathedral was burnt down, we gotta build another one.
Not the Hagia Sophia we know, the first one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which was still pretty sweet, but not as sweet as the one that still
No.
exists today.
He wrote letters to appeal the exile to the Pope and two other important bishops.
Yes, there were two archbishops in Italy that were also very important and powerful. So he was basically, from the east going, hey, other branch of Christendom, can you do something here about this empress? Yes, I did call her that, but did you see her dance?
Well, I mean,
Did you see what she walked down? Did you see what she walked through town wearing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have to remember, at this point in history, the West has not yet fallen. The imperial capital is either at Milan or Ravenna. Mm-hmm. So, there were other important ecclesiastics besides just the Pope.
Yes.
Yep.
And Pope Innocent I did protest the banishment, and he attempted to send a delegation to Constantinople,
but they didn't make it.
They just didn't make it. There was too many, hurdles along the way.
Well, you travel back in the day.
Yep. John's many letters resulted in him still having influence among the people of Constantinople, so he was exiled farther away to Pitiant, or Pitius.
Pity him, he was in Piteous.
Which is in Georgia, the country, not the state of the United States.
It would be hilarious if they sent him to this.
Even if it was in Savannah.
It'd be crazy if they sent him to a place that was then unknown New World.
He won up St. Brendan the Navigator by going the other way around.
Unfortunately, he did not make it there and died on the way.
I'm at what will one day be Atlanta, and the traffic is already terrible.
However, they have this interesting, this sweet, dark liquid. It's very tasty and fizzy. And there's so many peaches.
So many peaches.
Over the 10 years that he was, the last 10 years of his life, the 10 years that he was Archbishop of Constantinople, he was exiled 5 times. This was just a recurrent cycle.
Over the course of 10 years. So, it's on average. He was forced to leave town every 2 years, but he was spending a lot of time out of town. So really, it comes down to even less time spent in town.
Yeah, like I was Googling trying to figure out how many times he was exiled, and I'm like, the internet was not sure, so I'm like, well, here are 2 clear stories of what happened, and there's like at least another one where they're like, someone wasn't sure on his theology, so they kicked him out.
Still, though, those last words were something.
So he's on his way to Georgia again.
Further away from home because the people at home.
Not our jokes about the state. And he's expiring, and it says these famous last words:
Glory be to God for all things.
However, he said it in Greek, and I almost went and copied and pasted the Greek so everyone could look at it and be like,
Yeah,
No, it's read Greek. Don't know what that says. Nope.
if he is not asking Christ our Lord for mercy, we have no idea what
It is literal. Well, but even that would have to be transliterated into a Latin text.
Yes.
Even if it was still...
The real issue is not so
Like,
much...
if you squint at it in the Greek, you might be like, maybe this is what it means, but yeah, it's
the
not
real-
that close looking.
It's Greek to me.
The real issue, dear, is that it's a completely different alphabet. So while if it were in our language, if it were in a Latin script, we might be able to translate it somewhat.
Again, I can tell you what Kyrie eleison means if I see a written Kyrie eleison. I have no idea what those words look like written in Greek.
And if you put it through Google Translate, it'll be "calm down, sir," which I find hilarious.
Calm down, God. Calm down.
But yes, it's much like I did great at a
Calm down,
program.
Lord. Calm down, Christ. Calm down, Lord.
That was, you know, my mom bought it so I could learn French because I was studying French, but it also had Russian. And it did Russian in Latin letters. And the Russian was easier if it's written in our alphabet than the French.
if you write...
Once it's in Cyrillic, I'm like, I don't
No,
know.
if you know, Russian transliterated into a Latin alphabet is extremely close to English in so many ways.
Mm-hmm. Especially if you said it out loud, because
Yep.
once you sounded it out, you're like, oh, wait.
Yeah. No, it just, but there, I regularly invoke Saints Cyril and Methodius in my prayers for Christian unity. They were absolutely great saints. Mm-hmm. But guys, did you really do anyone any favors by introducing a third alphabet into this stuff?
Remember Polish. Polish
Polish is its own alphabet.
Language-wise, should be written in the Cyrillic alphabet. But
Yeah.
because they went with the West,
Yeah.
they used our alphabet, and that's why everything has 50 million Z's and everything in it.
Well, but the same thing happens with Croat, which is basically the same language as Serbian, but it doesn't have all the same problems. Again, the two languages are mutually intelligible, just that Croat is written in Latin and Serbian is written in Cyrillic.
All right, well, we are way off. So anyway, if you've ever heard of, like, St. John Chrysostom, he's important. He's got a big statue in Rome with 3 other guys, and he did stuff. Now you know some of the stuff he did.
Yeah, so when you see the famous picture of the throne of St. Peter and then the window of the Holy Spirit behind him, there's 4 statues holding up the throne. He's one of the 4, alongside St. Athanasius, St. Ambrose of Milan, and St. Augustine.
Yes, because they were 4 really, really important, theological teachers, half from the West, half from the East.
Yep.
So, go down below to the comments section and let us know about a saint that you hear about all the time, but you don't know so much about.
Ooh, I like it.
I'm always hearing this person's name, but who were they?
Yeah.
People speak of them so often, I feel awkward saying, I don't really know anything about them. So, help a brother out.
Listen to a litany of the saints in a liturgy, and you'll be fine. You'll be all set.
Mm-hmm.
Except for, if it is, the Easter vigil at Holy Redeemer, where it's like, yep, those are all your kids. Oh, and those are your kids.
Or comment below with a third secret pronunciation of
Chrysostom.
Of Chrysostom.
Or
Get
other
creative.
languages that you think should be written in a different alphabet.
No, we're against it.
Or 4. It depends. Does it make it easier for us to understand the thing?
It's fair. Give this episode a like, subscribe to our channel to be notified the next time we take a deep dive about a saint. Mm-hmm. And until then,
Remember to live your faith.
Love your faith.
share that love.